Thank you. Thank you, Anna, and all your panelists. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the meaningful discussion. And right now, I'd like to invite all of you for a short coffee break. It's going to last for 30 minutes. So we look forward to seeing you back in the hall at 4:45 p.m. See you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right. Now I can just remember. Very official. Should I? I think the people would like it, you know.
Dear friends, you have just 2 minutes, and we're going to start our panel discussion. Again and again, I kindly ask you to proceed to the main hall and take your seats.
I don't have that problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, once again, I kindly ask you to proceed to the main hall because we want to start our final panel discussion on the main stage. And while you are gathering, I have some information about tomorrow. Let's talk about plans for tomorrow. So tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., there will be B2B matchmaking between Ukrainian and international defense companies at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. For setting meetings, please use B2Match app. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are outside, please come inside, because we have to start. So, the final panel discussion, and after this panel, we will have a closing speech on this stage from a very important guest. Wait for him. So, the conventional weapons, sustainment, and manufacturing challenges. And I pass the floor to the moderator of this panel discussion. Please welcome Lynndy Smith, President of Arizona Defense and Security Industry Coalition, member of the Supervisory Board of the Ukrainian Defense Industry. Lynndy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me okay out there? Great. Thank you for joining us. I know this is the last panel of the day, and I'm sure your minds are full from some great conversation. We're excited for one last conversation on conventional weapons, sustainability, and manufacturing. Before I get into the conversation today, just would like to formally introduce myself. As mentioned, I am the CEO of the Arizona Defense and Industry Coalition. We were actually originally founded by the late Senator John McCain as a way of uniting the defense community of Arizona. We've since expanded across the US to help facilitate meaningful conversations and cooperation between US industry and Ukrainian industry on co-production in country. I also serve as a member of the Supervisory Board of Ukraine Defense Industry, where I've personally got to see firsthand over this last year the amazing technologies being driven out of Ukraine. Before we get into our panelists, I'd like to start off with just a couple remarks to kind of set the stage for our conversation today. The ongoing war inflicted by Russia has exposed significant weakness in the global defense production. Despite past efforts, the current state of weapons industry worldwide has proven insufficient to meet the urgent demands of modern warfare. On one side, the defense production capabilities in the West are struggling to keep up with the replenishment of weapon stockpiles rapidly consumed on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Ukraine's defense enterprises are not fully utilized, with estimates suggesting that Ukraine's defense industry holds contracts worth approximately $7 billion. It is only operating at a third of its potential capacity. One of the most critical challenges remains the supply of ammunition. Largely due to a global shortage of raw materials required for explosive manufacturing, this issue affects Ukraine and many other nations, amplifying its strain on defense production capabilities. Additionally, the Ukrainian military currently operates with a wide range of Western equipment, which, while strengthening the army, also presents challenges for repair and maintenance. Many of these systems require specialized repairs that can only be done abroad, leading to delays that impact military operations on the front line. Today's discussion will focus on how we can address these issues through collaborative efforts between Ukraine and Western partners. We are fortunate that we have an outstanding panel of experts here with us from defense industries in both the US and Germany, as well as representatives from Ukraine government itself. I'd now like to invite each of our panelists to introduce themselves and their work and engagement in Ukraine today. And of course, I'd love to start with the great gentleman to my left from BAE Systems, Christian.
Thank you, Lynndy. My name is Christian Seear. I'm the Senior Director for BAE Systems Ukraine. I sit across BAE Systems Global operations for Ukraine. That includes our UK, Swedish, and of course US operations. Should I do a bit more? Yep. So, look, we've been supporting Ukraine since the start of Russia's illegal invasion. This is my 6th visit to the country. I'm very proud to lead a team across that task force of countries that I mentioned earlier. And it's all in pursuit of Alexander Commission's vision to build the arsenal of the free world. And we're very much committed to that vision. A couple of introductory things on our capabilities. We have fielded, in partnership with our home governments, the UK, the US, and Sweden, a number of extremely battle-tested platforms. These include the Bradley, the M777, the light gun, the AS90, and the Archer, and the CV90 from our Swedish business. And we're very proud to work closely with the end users and our home governments to make sure that kit remains as lethal as possible. And as part of that, we take our sustainment very, very seriously to make sure this kit is fixed forward in country and is as lethal as possible. And as such, we set up a MRO facility with our local partner, principally to repair UK gifted weapons, the L119 light gun we're doing right now, and we're looking to expand that operation to a number of other UK platforms and other NATO allied countries. And we're one of the first to set that entity up, that facility up with our local partner. And I'm also pleased to say we are there now with another partner for more production-based capabilities around barrels. Barrels obviously a huge issue for the Ukrainian warfighter, and we're looking to bring some very new, novel technologies and modernization to set that barrel manufacturing capability up here in Ukraine. And then linked to that same partner, we want to go on a journey to move up the production cycle to assembly, integration, and testing, and then full production of howitzers. And we're in that discussion right now at sensitive stages, but we're very committed. Congratulate the brave defenders on Defender Day today. It's been the honor of a lifetime to work on this project, and I look forward to sharing some of the insights we've sort of learned as a company, both in sustainment, but then just doing business generally with Ukraine. So, thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you for that, Christian. Eric, can we have you go next? Just some background on yourself and the Institute.
Добре.
I'm Igor Cherkov. I'm head of the Central R&D Institute for Weaponry. The R&D institute that the speaker represents handles the replenishment of weaponry, and it spells out key ratios for the effectiveness of weaponry production in Ukraine. They report to the Deputy Minister of Defense for the development of technologies. They cooperate with the Department for Military Policy, and they also explore how to improve the quality of the current warfighters, and how to counter weaponry trafficking, and any types of weaponry, including planes and different types of fighters, while they are under the scope of their responsibilities. So apart from contracts, they also look into the pre-contractual work and assess the quality of the producers that is exported. This is what the technological department of the R&D Institute deals with. They make decisions on the most effective solutions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honor to be here. I'm Joe Dunaway, the President of Executive Operations for our Mission Solutions Group out of Amentum. For those that don't know Amentum, as of 54 minutes ago, Amentum is now a publicly traded company at the New York Stock Exchange. Amentum is a $14 billion, 53,000 personnel company across 8 continents, 80 countries. It's really the combination of 4 amazing service companies: Dynacore International, AECOM, PAE, and most recently, as of today, Jacobs Critical Missions. It's a phenomenal company. I'm probably one of the few representatives of the service industry that's a part of this. We take great honor and privilege to be here. It's amazing to me. This is, I think, my 7th trip here in Ukraine. Amentum was actually fortunate enough to start on the other side in Poland in support of this effort under U.S. Army contract as part of the effort to push the presidential authority equipment over. We still have a sizable force there, and we're still in direct communications with Ukrainian Armed Forces forward. Actually, we conduct telemaintenance through AR/VR and sustainment logistics. It established a phenomenal relationship under that contract in the effort that it has to push over 6,000 pieces of equipment forward, working with SAGU, 21st Theater Sustainment Command, and UCOM. A great operation, a great collaboration, and it really allowed us to gain the momentum to really come into country and start this opportunity here with a lot of great companies and government representatives here. We are very close, with literally hours, of reaching an agreement to conduct operations here, partnered with Ukraine Defense Industries. I've seen many of their facilities. I've seen many of the private companies' operations, and as a former depot commander in the U.S. Army, I can tell you it's extremely impressive. This country is beyond capable. The individuals, the culture, the mindset is absolutely humbling. They can do anything that they set their mind to, and I think with partners and partnerships such as all of us here on this stage, whether you're a service company or whether an OEM, we have all the capability to provide it at the right time, at the right place to help Ukraine win that victory. It's absolutely essential. So I'm excited to be a part of this, to share our journey and our vision, but even more excited to the next step of being in country to provide technical support, assistance, mentorship, logistics, supply, and supports to the U.S. donated equipment and any other areas that we can help and support. So it's an honor.
Thank you, Joe.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maxim Bilan, and I'm a managing director of the company called Rheinmetall, Ukrainian defense industry. This company was created by German Rheinmetall and Ukrainian defense industry. So I'm from the day one of this project, and right now I'm holding this position. So the company is created first of all at the reaction on the situation and the war in the Ukraine, just to help armed forces to keep their equipment battle ready. So this is priority number one, but the second thing is just to increase the capacity of Ukrainian industry to have more knowledge, to have more technologies. And the things is it's in new production, it's R&D as well.
So very nice good afternoon to everybody. It's impressive to see so many people of you still around after such a long day. So I would say the organizer took the right topics. It was a good event, and thank you very much to the organizer for organizing such an impressive event here. Joe, I hope you had some time to buy some shares from our company today in between. So I think that's also important, this part. Yeah, my name is Wörner, and I have a privilege to present today or represent today KNDS Germany, formerly Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann KMW. Yeah, so my role is, since about 1 year, it became obvious that the work we have to do, and we are pleased to do it, in Ukraine is becoming more and more, and it involves more and more divisions. So I'm a responsible person taking care, coordinating all our activities towards Ukraine. And I think we can be proud in a way. We are more or less one of the first companies delivering equipment to Ukraine. We delivered our air defense system Gepard already 2022. And meanwhile, we can say together with our French colleagues from KNDS France, we have more than 400 weapon systems in operation here. Starting from Seear, from our colleagues in France, 105 artillery. On our side, we have Leopard 1, where we are the OEM, Leopard 2, we are the OEM, Panzerhaubitze PZH, we are the OEM, and soon we are proud to have Ukraine as our launching customer for the new RCH 155. This is a new artillery system which can shoot on the move. So having this in mind, you can imagine how much work we have on spare parts, on maintenance, on training, sustainment, and so on. And here, I think we want to continue also in Ukraine, but it takes all a little bit longer, on and on, as expected. But I think we are on a good track. Thank you.
And thank you to all our panelists for joining today, and especially thank you to industry who's been so aggressive in coming to Ukraine, not waiting for after the war, but coming in now, partnering with Ukrainian industry and really supplying what's going to be needed to win this war against Russia. To start off, I would like to discuss first Ukrainian defense industry. Given the nature of the war, we've seen a lot of need for Ukrainian defense industry to scale very quickly. And I would love to talk about how Ukraine is scaling at pace with the needs and what frustrations or blockers that Ukraine may be facing when it comes to scaling that production as quickly as it's needed. Maybe Dr. Chepkov or Maxim would like to contribute first.
Да, дійсно, це складна проблема і
It's a hard question, and it's hard to give answer. We are happy. I'm not going to give you digits now, but the digits are pretty good. The weapons define the situation at the battlefield, and we lack highly technological methods as well as traditional conventional weapons, cars, different types of vehicles, and ammunition to all kinds of battle vehicles. We understand that traditional, conventional weapons, especially this stage of war, is probably the most defining types of machinery. It's important for scaling up. And we need to take certain actions to satisfy the existing need from the side of Ministry of Defense, from our management, from our government, and all these problems that we have been discussing here with ammunition, with logistics chains, especially for renovation, repair of damaged machinery. This is a very vital issue, and our Ministry of Defense applies a maximum effort to solve this problem. Thank you.
If you have anything as well, maybe some scaling that you've seen in your own organization that you'd like to contribute, that would be terrific.
So regarding the obstacles or problems for increasing production, I can say only from the point of view of new system that came as a donation from supporting countries. So on the first stage, it was quite difficult to find a proper approach on how to service and repair the system. First of all, it's lack of information, technical information, lack of connections with the OEMs. I know that it was very good support on the level of Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces between them, but the industry was actually struggling without this connection and support. And step by step, I think this problem is resolving right now, not that fast as we would like to, but the only way how to increase it is just do this the job together, just to avoid all these obstacles, just normal like formalities, bureaucracy that we are facing in peace life. Right now it's not peace life, it's a matter of survival of our country, of our nation. So in this case, it's better just to avoid all these problems and just to work on the one matter, or in focus on the results. That's what I can say.
Thank you for that. And I think as part of your comments, talking about partnership with Western allies to help solve some of these production gaps has been a clear focus of Ukraine, and one that is starting to see a lot of benefit. And so I'd love to hear from our Western allies and industry members here about their experience working in Ukraine, how they see Western allies playing a part in the production scaling of industry here, and any insights that you may have for other industry looking to do the same. Christian, if you'd like.
Yeah, great question, Lynndy. So I think cooperation with Ukraine can take many forms. I think, and you can go structural and almost symbolic to start with. So as I said, BAE Systems, we established our legal license, our trading entity in Kyiv at a meeting between our CEO Charles Wörner and the president last year. I think that was a hugely symbolic move from our company, but also. It's to signify somewhat to the enemy that there is, lethal technology on your doorstep, and it's a message that we gave to the president. So there is huge symbolism to companies doing that. We've been fortunate enough to have an excellent team. Just wave, team, wave, loud.
Those are the shyest waves.
They're the smart ones. To achieve that, and then the second. Longer term option that gives you by having a trading entity is, as Ukraine transition to long-term, partnering and direct contracting in the future that we hope it will get to, by having an entity you can entertain at least the assessment of direct contracting. So that's one form. I think there's other forms of collaboration clearly on MRO, something we've been keen to push forward. We have a fix it forward strategy and message at BAE Systems. We're fortunate to have a very good local partner delivering our light guns forward. And as I said in my opening, we're looking to do that with another local partner for some broader platforms. So MRO, clearly a form of cooperation. And then that also includes spare parts and provision and technical pubs and all that sort of transfer. But again, as Joel know better than anyone, getting access to technical publications and documentation for some of these older models. Joel, nod.
Yeah, hint toward Joe.
Is something that is a challenge for all of us. But the final comment I'd make just on forms of cooperation is, identify where these partners can be and initiate, due diligence and corporate governance as early as possible. We've got a fantastic Ministry for Strategic Industries led by Kamashin and Sergei Boyev and the team there, and of course all the assistance from additional advisors to match foreign companies with the right businesses. But it's on us as industry to overlay our processes and ways of doing things to create a really formidable, long-term, stable, defense industry. Want to do this properly. Things can be slow on due diligence. Some companies are quick, some are slow. But as long as we do it thoroughly and we create the right ecosystem, we're going to build a real, sustainable, highly effective long-term deterrence plan that includes lethal technology being built by local companies. But the message is get started early and get partners identified. As I say, we BA Systems are very lucky that we've identified and worked with two particular companies who have been superb, and we're really looking forward to that. So they're just some forms of collaboration, and we're here to assist with any other companies in terms of advising how we did it. Not to say that it's the right way, it's just a way. So thanks, Lynndy.
Joe, if you could, I'd love for you to speak on kind of what you all are looking to facilitate, kind of that big gap that we're seeing today, which is the technical information.
And absolutely, and just to capture some of what Chris said, all of us have special skills and expertise in our companies. Being the one service company, where our strength really comes from is together, is a collective team, and I've seen that more than ever in my 30 years in the military, in other countries, fighting other wars. Haven't seen it as strong as I've seen it here. This is like building a plane in flight and fighting at the same time. You don't have the luxury of being able to take time to prepare and everything else. It's probably the hardest environment that a warfighter ever wants to be in. To that end, as a sustainment vehicle, to include my OEM colleagues, we have to understand that environment, and we have to stay at pace with them. And it's been a blessing working with UDI and with the ministers, Strategic Industry Commission, and the other ministers, MOD, and understanding the challenges that they face and how fluid it is. Large companies, large OEMs, they lay in plans, but in this particular environment, you have to be very flexible. You have to be able to adjust and adapt to what the Ukrainians need. If you get too far out in front of that, it may be the wrong thing if you're too far behind. So it is a constant evolution of being in step. For sustainment on our side, it's the tough part for us is having been in Poland watching this the whole time, knowing that the technical skill is here, knowing that the OEMs have a depth of technical skill as well. But there are policies, there are procedures, there are rules of engagement. Technical data is one that's very real. OEMs have technical data for all the reasons that they're OEMs. Ukraine has technical data, and they're learning some amazing technical data that they're going to safeguard as well. And we collectively as a team have to go forward, and we have to understand that. We have to be responsible and safeguard that. And at the same time, we have to work through those policies and procedures and get the appropriate approvals as quickly as we possibly can, so that we can actually do the jobs that we need to do, so that we can get the technical skills in the Ukrainians' hands. Amentum has pride in the fact that we don't want to come in and do the work for you. And I can tell you here, that's not going to be the case. The Ukrainians are more than capable to do it. They need the technical data, they need the technical mentorship, and there will be no time. They'll be fully organic. So their vision of being the democracy of Arsenal in Europe and the free world, that's not just a vision. That will be a reality. There is no doubt in my mind. We have a responsibility to assist them as a team collectively, to bring all of our individual strengths together and work with them at their pace and their time and with what they need when they need it. So it's a great opportunity, and I, in my 7 trips and in the 20 months that I've been coming here, I see a lot of change and a lot of positive movement in that direction. A lot of cooperation with companies, a lot of discussion across the governments as well in trying to solve this problem. So it's by no stretch easy, but it's absolutely capable and it's absolutely doable. So.
Thank you for that, Joe. Reiner, if I could, I'd like to address this next question to you. One of the big focuses of production in Ukraine is obviously on munitions as a critical asset of the war, but one of the huge issues that we've seen in that production is access to raw materials needed for production. Curious from your opinion, kind of what hurdles have you also seen in that space, and how could international partners potentially help solve some of those problems?
Oh, it's a long question, so I hope I got everything what you were asking. I think what we have to distinguish, do we talk at the moment service and sustainment, or do we talk about new products, joint manufacturing? Now, when we talk about joint manufacturing, at the end, I think as a system house like KNDS Germany, you are talking about a business case 10 to 15 years down the road. So this means you have to think what you are doing, where you're investing. And the next point is what is at the end with intellectual property rights. This is our next issue, what needs to be solved. We as KNDS, we have done such programs, but we also have to understand how the business case will work. I mean, how many units will it be only for Ukraine? Are we going out? What about technology? Do we have skilled people? Do we have a material? And as a system integrator, more important, we very much depend on subcontractors, on component suppliers. So do we apply quality standards as we have back home in Germany? Do we go out, maintain such quality standard? Do we go down or higher? So I think it's not an easy question just to say, do we do co-production? I mean, it takes a while to prepare such a business case, and at the end, it's also a matter of resources to manage such a business case once you set it up. And at the moment, I would say on our side, we have corporations, we are going into corporations, we may have also in the future a kind of joint venture, but basically I think at the moment more important is for us having the 400 units here in Ukraine is about sustainment, service, maintenance, and spare parts supply.
Thank you for that, Reiner. My next question centers around investment into Ukraine from Western allies. Obviously, many of you on stage here today are witness to companies that are willing to engage and invest operations into Ukraine. What do you see as far as the future of collaboration with Western allies? Is there a lot of willingness there with your colleagues in your own countries? And do we think there will be open arms when it comes to offering access to critical technologies of Western allies? Maybe you'd like to address this first.
So I think one of the most important lessons that we've seen BAE Systems for the sort of long term, and therefore that investment into the country and how that looks and the transfer of IP, is getting a real clear understanding of unifying the systems. And of course innovation is important, but we all sort of want Ukraine to strive towards clear NATO interoperability and common munitions and consumables and fuel and those sort of things. So I think this is more of a sort of a challenge that I think needs to be overcome soon before we sort of get into the discussion of what that investment looks like. Is the kind of future force structure. I mean, obviously we at BAE Systems, we have several different categories of weapons, sometimes in the same sort of portfolio. For example, the self-propelled area, we have the M109 and various configurations to A2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. Also the the AS90 is another one. And then just on the infantry fighting vehicle side, I mentioned Bradley and CV90. So I think the industry, you're really knowing what what the long-term structure of that force looks like. And I think once we win the war, clearly the focus needs to be there. But I think once industry gets a very clear picture on what platforms have been most battle tested, most capable, can see a clear sustainment plan as well for those. I think we need a clear sustainment strategy, as a collective as well. I think then once industry's got those answers, the future force and how it's underpinned by sustainment, you'll get a real, buy-in about, what co-production looks like kind of long term. So, the other comment maybe I'd make as well, not necessarily linked directly to this, but we're seeing, co-financing models from some governments, to ease the sort of financial pressures, I guess, on investment into country. For example, Netherlands and Denmark signed a co-financing deal for CV90, which is one of our tracked platforms in the field. We have 50 fielded. And that is for, Dutch and Danish use, but units were also funded for Ukraine to receive. And I think you put the collective might of clearly, industry and all the countries represented together, you get quite quickly, the ability to contest with Russia's total war, footing and industrial complex. It really can't compete, frankly. So, not necessarily related to the question, but certainly a rousing call for, collaboration. It's great to hear Amentum also talking about, the need for cross-industrial sustainment solutions as well. That's something we're interested in as well.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the ways that we've seen companies obviously initially engage in Ukraine has been about maintenance and repair. And I know, Joe, you guys have been a leading front of that. And so I'd love you to talk a little bit about kind of the logistical challenges that you've seen in that area, and how things like you are doing at Amentum can help kind of change the progress and investment opportunities here in country.
Absolutely. Just to touch back on investment, I think, we talk a lot about investment from a monetary standpoint, and that's real and that's absolutely imperative. But there's a lot of other investment that can be used here. There's investment of time, and there's investment of knowledge, there's investment of capability, investment of partnerships. The money is absolutely critical in a fight like this, and it can be exhausting. But there's no price tag to put on preservation of life. And that comes in many forms. And so I'd ask us not to forget about that there's a lot of investment that's out there that can still be pushed forward. On the logistics side and the sustainment, what I have seen here is rather incredible with natural resources. There's an amazing abundance of natural resources here that at least the interactions that I had with some very, very skilled Ukrainians, I think they all are engineers at birth. But they can create things out of the natural resources in rapid time. That said, some of the technologies that are coming in from the Western countries and other donated countries, the technology is a bit different. And so, therefore, I think it's incumbent upon the rest of us as allies and partners to establish those same supply lines and establish those relationships with the providers of those parts and those supply lines wherever they may be. And it does take time, and it can be a bit of a challenge, but you have to overcome that. You have to make sure that you get the right parts, the right vehicles. I remember a comment that was made that one of my first few trips here that there was a need for several hundred engines for a particular platform. And when you dig deeper into the discussion, it really wasn't that all of those engines were completely exhausted and gone. Those engines maybe needed a gasket or a seal or a small component that runs it, or maybe the right hydraulic fluid. And it's amazing to me how the combat power of a weapon system can come down to a cotter pin. It can come down to a bearing. And so you can't lose sight of the very basic and small things. It's not just the big things. You have to look at everything from start to finish and make sure that you provide the consumables and all those other small products that these weapon systems need. Because when they are maintained properly and they are serviced properly, they have absolute combat superiority. And that's what the Ukrainians need, and that's what the Ukrainians are going to get. So we owe that to them as a collective body. Whether you're an OEM, whether you're a service provider, doesn't matter. Whatever your special skill is, look deep, step up, and let's provide them with everything that they need.
Rainer, I wonder if you would also like to comment on kind of the logistical challenges that you all have seen on the maintenance and repair side and how you can also contribute on that side.
I think training is a very important part. We have now trained over several hundred soldiers and also civilians as operator, as maintainer, as doing installations and so on. So I think at the end, the objective of maintenance service is to have as fast as possible the weapon system ready and bring it back in a way functioning and supporting the soldiers. And so time is very crucial. And for that, I think trained people, well, even what we experienced, all the people who we trained are really well qualified. It doesn't take long to take on what needs to be done and so on. So we were really pleased and happy to have them here. So one thing is training. The second thing is spare parts availability. I think here we can improve, but also it's on and on. We don't know where our spare parts are. And also I would say on our side, talking about going into closer corporations, I think administration is also a little bit an issue which delays things. And for me personally, that's my personal opinion, I know in Europe, here in Ukraine, Germany, all over, you need a government, you need a governmental institution, you need governmental processes. But at the end, here we are in a wartime, and so on and on. I think administration should think twice whether all processes should be applied. I mean, I just got a call from our lawyer, and she was quite surprised how much work it requires to have antitrust approval achieved here. Yeah, that's basically all delaying, and at the end, it's taking time, which we need actually to repair the systems in order to have the soldier ready to fight.
Understood. Maxim, I know we do have a great success story with Rheinmetall here in Ukraine. I know I've personally got to see the facility and the operations that you all are standing up there. Would love for you to talk maybe a little bit about the successes or opportunities that you are all seeing in the MRO space.
I wouldn't talk about successes and opportunities. I would like to talk about challenges that you mentioned about logistic challenges and the spare part supply and all this stuff. First of all, absolutely agree with the notes about the training. Training is important for operation of the equipment, of the system. So this is question number one. When the vehicle coming without battle damages, but without improper operation. First, number one. Second thing, it's availability of spare parts. Yes, it's a problem, as far as I know, because most of the systems coming with which are obsolete, you have no chance to find any spare parts around the world for some time. So here, what we can apply, first of all, use domestic industry, even in small batches, in small quantity of spare parts, which is okay right now for Ukraine because the target is not making money. The target is to keep the equipment battle ready. It's absolutely doable here, and believe me, when you come to local manufacturer of any parts, they will find a solution how to do this than to find the excuses how not to do this. This is attitude of most of local companies. Regarding the supply chain, I mean logistic of spare parts, how it's transferred here. Yeah, there is a questions when you're a private company, it's a question of taxation, it's a question of customs for sure, but even in this condition, especially in this condition, right now, how we resolve this problem, there are all full legal basis in armed forces, in Ministry of Defense, in all legislation of Ukraine, how you can do it legally and as soon as possible. The question is to find the communication with the end user, what we are doing on a daily basis, and I think right now our job is make them fight for us. That's our goal. And we will find a way how to do it. And it's doable. Believe me, it's difficult, but it's doable.
Thank you for that, Maxim. We have time maybe just for one last question, and I'd like to direct this specifically to Dr. Chepkov in about, given the experience that Western equipment has on the battlefield, what immediate support or change in supply are most critical when it comes to scaling Ukrainian defense industry?
Да, це
This is a very hard recipe. If you talk about scaling up, I want to say the following thing. Today, our defense sector is under conditions when there's a danger. Therefore, this scale up should be all about sustainability, reserving and necessary conditions for the chains, logistics chains. In the field, we indeed require a timely provision of spare parts and our defense, and without these provisions, we won't be able to win this war. American President Eisenhower once said that the victory that he received in the north of Africa he received thanks to the manufacturing of United States. It's important that our manufacturing is as strong as the one President Eisenhower was once talking about. So this manufacturing should be strong and sustainable. Thank you.
We're about at time here, but really appreciate your time and expertise and transparency when it comes to sharing obstacles or frustrations when it comes to production here in Ukraine. I think all of us can agree, though, that there is not a more important time to be engaging in production and manufacturing in Ukraine than now. I know when speaking with companies at home, I very much emphasize that there's a need to engage today, not waiting until after the war, but coming in and growing and scaling with Ukraine as they fight this war with Russia and once they win the battle. So I want to thank you again for your expertise, but even more importantly, for your engagement in Ukraine today. So thank you, and thank you for everyone for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lynndy, and all your guests. Thank you for the meaningful vision and support for the development of the latest technologies in Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated, because right now we have one more final part of our International Defense Industries Forum. So please welcome on stage Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Rustem Umerov.
Dear colleagues, first of all, it's an honor for me to meet you all, but it's also the last maybe presenter, so you are so tired for a long speeches, so I would be just thanking you for coming here, but just to overview before you're going to head to your capitals. This is a great event that we started along with the Ministry of Strategic Industries and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And last year it was a success when we launched. Today it's already results when we open offices, when we try to discuss what has been done, and we are coming with strong messages that we are capable, we are able, and Ukraine becomes not only an arsenal of the world, but it becomes a partner of the European continent or Euro-Atlantic continent. We're able, we're capable, and because of the engineering, because of the, not only because of the bravery, but bravery plus defense innovations or creativity that we had. Last year we have multiplied the effects. We as Ministry of Defense have invested up to $4 billion in local production. We are thankful to all the investors that invested along with us, and we are thankful for all your capitals that you provided us comprehensive assistance, both political, diplomatic, financial, military, and this is a huge support for us. We made our part. It's a program minimum, as we said. We invested $4 billion that have scaled opportunities, and we have now capabilities that can be scaled more and could benefit both our countries and our capitals. We, as you know, have focused lately on the missile programs and drone programs. You will be hearing next year a lot of, or by the end of the year, that there would be a huge missile program. We already start working on our ballistic missiles, and I think there was a lot of speech today, and we have the ambition to become an ally of the world, of the free, democratic, rule of order world. And we would be more than happy to make joint ventures with you, to co-invest with you, because we want to become an allies from partners and allies of the free world. So we are thankful to all all governments and all the private entities that invested to the production. We are thankful for the, as I said, to the state, to your states, to the private businesses, to the engineers, to the innovators, and to those who made it possible, because it was a brave decision, it was a smart decision, it was innovative decision. And we as a Minister of Defense will be focused on concluding the long-term agreements. We already reached 2, 3, 4, 5. We're looking to make it possible to make 10-year agreements and to simplify system, because it's so hard to sign, but we are focusing to simplify, simplify, simplify. Simple does not constitute easy. So that's why Apple, as I say, is an easy thing but to use, but it's super complicated. We're trying to simplify the procedures. We're going to, I just had a meeting with our budgetary committee where I asked their support for the next year budget. It will be increased, and we will be investing more into our defense sector. So if in case you're interested in long-term agreements, A, B, if you're interested in joint ventures, in co-investments with us, we are ready to co-invest with you. We are ready to grant you long-term agreements, and so to support your aspirations, because we would need it not only for now, but we're focusing that after the war it would be export, and you would be exporting to all of your countries and all the partners. So once again, not to make you the last speech very sad and not interesting, once again, I'm here to thank on behalf of the people of Ukraine, on behalf of the leadership of Ukraine, on behalf of our united team, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Strategic Industries, and Ministry of Defense. So thank you very much for investing, for believing and supporting us. Thank you.
Mr. Mumeverov, thank you so much. And now I'd like to invite on stage Herman Smetanin, Minister of Strategic Industries of Ukraine, to deliver closing remarks.
Dear friends and colleagues, today we had a very productive day. This forum was attended by more than 280 companies from around the world. 320 countries took part in this forum. We signed 7 agreements of different pattern. This day was extremely efficient. Thank you for the accomplishments that we reached today. and the consensus that we agreed on. Taking into consideration these programs, policies, approaches, and agreements which we're conditioned today prove that we stay united in our pathway to victory. Thank you.
And it's still not the end, dear friends. For some organizing moments, I'd like to invite Sergei Boyev and Anna Gvozdara, Deputy Minister